No, maybe. Welcome, everybody. It is January 105th, 2021. Depending on how you look at it, it might be May 722nd, 2020. I don't know. Welcome. Hello. Please say hello in the comments, whether you're here now or watching in the replay. I wanted to give you some reflections about something that I've been seeing online. And I'm always trying to put things into perspective in ways that people can understand them and in ways that people can understand them and then maybe sort of like evolve how they're interacting with themselves and the people around them. And so there's been a lot, it's been heavy, you know what I mean? Like this last full moon and everything that's been going on in the world, in our environment, in our country, with the sickness, all of this stuff. It's really heavy. Do you feel me? Let me know in the comments. Let me know that you're there. Okay. And so I wanted to try to get something across to you that I've been sort of digging into and swimming around with in my own mind and within my own circles. And it's two things. One, the first thing is, and this is when I had to sort of tune out of the news a little bit, was I read some of the comments from the children who witnessed a lynching firsthand. I noticed some of the comments that they were saying as people who are looking on. And I'm not going to repeat the comments here. Do read the comments, maybe stay out of the sensational news, but read the actual comments that the kids are saying and then reflect a little bit. And after I read those comments and realized as much of the wholeness of the situation that I could perceive, I thought, wow, we're in a time again where we're having to explain murder, lynchings, and the implications of all these things to children. And I also thought at the same time, I had all these thoughts at the same time. I thought, wow. In those comments, I saw that these kids could feel that this is wrong. They could feel it. Their empathic connection and abilities were intact, despite everything that may or may not have been told to them in the last year or so. And so that gave me a lot of hope. I felt terror and I also felt hope. I felt really upset about it. And then I also felt like, wow, you know what I mean? I see there's a lot of you here, so please let me know in the comments. It's always hard to do these videos because I don't know if a thumbs up is good, a heart, whatever. Let me know in the comments if you're with me on like feeling this, like the multiplicity, feeling all these things at the same time. Okay, so that was one thing, and the other thing that happened this week was there was an attack of an Asian person in New York City, and something that was communicated often. And I guess in this video, I did not watch the video. I don't want to watch abuse videos. I don't need to watch them to understand what's happening. One of the things that's been said over and over again was that there were bystanders. And I can tell you, as somebody who's been assaulted with bystanders around, there's so many layers that you have to work through when you get assaulted or accosted. But you work through, there's so many layers. And one of the layers is when people stand by and do nothing. That's, for me, in my journey, that to me is the biggest betrayal, is not necessarily the person who's hurting me, but the people who stand by and do nothing. Now, I don't know all the exact details. I don't know if these people were calling cops. I don't know if some of these people had PTSD and didn't know what got frozen, didn't know what to do. I didn't know if those people were friends of the person who, the attacker, right? But I do know that the headlines everywhere is talking about the bystanders. about the people who watch. Now, I will say, going back to the George Floyd lynching and these children who are testifying, I will say that I don't expect children to jump in. I don't expect children to know what to do while witnessing the terrors of the world. But with this attack that just happened in New York, we're talking about adults. You know what I mean? We're talking about adults. And the thing is, and what I want to get across, and somebody's saying, I struggle with it being betrayal and understanding the fear of the bystanders. Yes, you can feel all those. You can feel, this is something that I think we should get used to, is that you can feel annoyance, you can feel frustration and rage about those bystanders, and also have understanding that they're human beings that also have a whole bunch of layers of what they're going through. Okay, again, I didn't see the video. Okay, I can't tell you that some of these bystanders were standing by thinking it was awesome to see a fight or whatever they thought it was. So I did not see the video. I don't need to see it. I wish people would stop posting about it with no. Let me tell you something else. I'm just going to lay it down right here. I want to get this point across so deeply. You have a chance right now to not be just a bystander. And when I see on my Facebook feed, people constantly posting videos of lynchings online and saying, so sad. When I see constant picture videos of the article of this Asian woman that's being beaten up, and it says, we need to do better. This makes me angry. That is the same energy as bystanders standing by watching the trauma. It's not the same thing. It's the same energy. Why? Because in those moments, as far as I know, some of those bystanders weren't really doing anything. That's what a bystander is. They don't do anything. Okay. So I want to make that I want to equate these things right now, that if you're posting online, and you maybe heard me talk about this, about the lynchings going on, the attacks going on, the trauma, if you're posting about trauma, people being beat up, people being hurt, please know that you are contributing to further trauma. Maybe not for your community, but probably for your community, but definitely for the communities where they see themselves in whoever the person being victimized is. So it doesn't mean you ignore it. Of course not. People do need to hear about it. But please, if you're going to post about trauma, if you're going to post about somebody being beat up, being lynched on the street, murdered, whatever, also post a call to action and give yourself a few moments to write more than so sad, or write more than we should do something. Well, what? We should do something? Let's just look at this another time on our Facebook feeds? What? You have more power than you know. There are people following you. There are people in your community. You don't have to have thousands of followers to be in leadership. You don't have to have thousands of followers to inspire people to take action. You might have a family member or community member or a friend. Even if you have 10 friends on Facebook, you might have a friend who just needs someone like you to say, I'm going to be donating to this. I'm going to be educating myself on this. I'm going to be reading this book. I'm actually going to go to this lobbying meeting, whatever. You have people following you right now. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're listening to sound my voice, you have people following you right now who are just waiting. They might not know it or not, right? But are waiting to hear you take action, for you to be an ally. And when they see you do it, they will then do it. Those bystanders doing nothing, and again, I have not seen the video, so I'm going off the surface of just seeing it constantly on my Facebook. Bystanders. Those bystanders standing by doing nothing is in the same family, in the same energy of constantly posting about these murders and lynchings and attacks with no call to action, with not taking moments to say more than this is so sad. It's the same energy. You have an opportunity to be an ally. You have an opportunity to create change. Anywhere where there's suffering, and you are not receiving the suffering yourself, you have an opportunity to create change. Okay, somebody's saying, I've seen it and it appears that they have been conditioned. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's talking about the video. So this person's saying, I've seen it, they have been sort of conditioned. So I think what this person is saying, I think is that, like, like the conditions just say that because we're now so used to like people, I guess, this happening on the street, that they're just like, okay, another person's getting beat up. Like the conditioning is just like, this is normal, this is okay. Someone's saying, what happened? Children, grr. Yeah. For who's asking, in the trial of the guy who killed George Floyd, they're interviewing bystanders and people who are walking by. And I want to point out that the difference between there's many differences between the two instances I'm talking about, but with George Floyd, I understand there are police with guns, right? Standing there. This is a law and the authority that we've all been taught to fear. So like, I understand why people might not, there are people who are there with their camera saying, why are you doing this? Stop, stop, stop. That is something that when you are working through, when you are remembering a situation, like you remember details, so like that was something. In this other situation that just happened in New York, my understanding is that there weren't cops. This wasn't a cop murder. This was a person who was an attacker, who was a civilian. So there wasn't a law. I don't know that this guy was flashing a gun or a weapon or anything. And another thing I want to say is, I don't expect that everybody can jump into a fight and solve the problem. But I do expect a little more, I guess, from humanity. Somebody's saying it's the equivalent of slaves that stood by and watched lashings, although they were outnumbered by slave drivers. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't agree with that, but that's a whole other conversation. That's something that we're talking about, the conditions of slavery and enslaved people, and the kind of the conditions are different. Maybe yes, conditioning in the mind and the way the mind is conditioned is similar. But if we're going to talk about the enslaved people and the conditions under which people were being lashed, where you have a whole community and a culture, when there's language barriers, when I feel like that's something that deserves a longer conversation, and I can't quite equate those two things together. Somebody saying at fear of becoming a statistic, getting killed by police on live. Right. So that could be part of the conditioning for sure. Anyway, so all I want to say here, this is the last thing I want to say, is that what I'm saying here is not necessarily to condemn any specific person. There, obviously there's many thoughts that are present. But look, now is the time to find out how you can be an ally. This is why I do some of the work I do. When I say I have an Allyship workshop coming up on, or a webinar coming up on the 22nd, and I, in the copy of when I put it out into the world, I had put something like, being an ally saves lives. And and I think I took it off because I was like, oh, maybe that's just like too much. But then I see all this and I'm just like, wow, that's no joke. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's being an ally quite literally saves lives. And I understand that this system is built for us to be in acute stress, for us to feel like we are too busy to take action, too busy to take care of all the things that we need to take care of. So just so we can get to the next day, it has us in survival mode. It has us conditioned to think that we don't really have stake in building a new world, that when we post trauma and abuse on Facebook, that it conditions us to think that just repeating it is enough. And it's not. There's more. And sometimes it's just adjustments that you can make to inspire other people and to get yourself active. And you can literally save lives. You could quite literally save lives. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Yes, of course, tag, like, and share. I love you all. the Allyship workshop, Allyship for Busy People, Walk the Talk, Be Effective, is happening on April 22nd. It is by donation. Come, bring your friends. I have groups that are bringing their whole companies. It's going to be an awesome, powerful evening, and I wish you all the best. And remember to take care of yourselves, as everything that we are seeing in this world right now that's being revealed, that we're being asked to pay attention to, it's not going away, and it is going to keep multiplying itself and getting more dense, and there's going to be more pressure until critical mass of us gets active, gets involved in our own special ways, because we all are going to do it differently. It's not going away. It is not going away. We have to move through it. We have to be a part of creating a better world for all. So blessings to all of you. Thank you for listening. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Big love. Bye-bye.